complaining about the media not giving a shit about women's college basketball. And my instant reaction is, oh, how quickly they forget. Right? How quickly they forget. As the Pope would say, no Clark, no spark. Caitlin Clark is now 2 years removed from women's college basketball. Out of sight, out of mind, women's college basketball now is. Out of sight, out of mind.
It was revealed and the internet exploded not with cheers but with a unified groan that rippled across the sports world. Nike's big vision for Paige Bueckers, designed to push her into the highest tier of superstar athletes instead, collapsed in dramatic fashion, leaving fans confused and critics stunned. This was not simply a marketing error. It felt like a slap, a clear signal of a much deeper troubling pattern that many are now calling out. The backlash was instant, undeniable, and aimed straight at a brand once defined by innovation, now appearing disconnected from its own history. This turned into a complete disaster for one of the game's brightest stars.
How quickly they forget. As the Pope would say, no Clark, no spark. Caitlin Clark is now 2 years removed from women's college basketball. Out of sight, out of mind, women's college basketball now is. Out of sight, out of mind, women's college basketball now is. They don't even have Juju Watkins this year, who they put up on a pedestal, and I'm a fan of Juju, but unfortunately she got injured, so they don't even have Juju Watkins to really.
The boldness of the design, or more accurately the total absence of it, hit a nerve. What was supposed to be a strong, timeless symbol for Paige Bueckers instead became a representation of corporate laziness, with critics quickly branding it slop. A logo so empty of imagination or care that it felt intentionally disrespectful. How could a global giant like Nike approve something so painfully bland? That question lingered, casting a heavy cloud over Bueckers' entire brand rollout, and exposing a sharp contrast that kept everyone talking. This was not only a shoe failure, it was an idea failure.
Run with it. Well, the fall off from Caitlin Clark getting drafted to where we are 2 years later, it's almost as if for women's college basketball, Caitlin Clark never existed. For the casual fan, we are back to those levels of not caring about women's college basketball. Folks, I didn't care about women's college basketball until I heard of Caitlin Clark. Guilty as charged. And I didn't care. ESPN didn't care. Fox Sports didn't care. Independent media didn't care. Random podcasters didn't care.
Picture the worst possible visual for an explosive, electrifying basketball star. Then imagine a plain, forgettable bucket. That was the logo. A paint can, a sand pail, a hardware store barrel, anything but a symbol worthy of a rising athlete. The internet showed no mercy, shredding the PB bucket and questioning the whole creative process. How many people saw this? How many executives signed off on it before release? Apparently too many. Showing that even the biggest brands can make shockingly tone-deaf choices. And the backlash was only starting.
ESPN didn't care. Fox Sports didn't care. Independent media didn't care. Random podcasters didn't care. They just didn't care. And now that she's no longer in college basketball, well, Corey Close, the head coach of the UCLA women's basketball team, is now getting smacked with a dab of reality. UCLA coach calls out missing media after ranked women's basketball game. Where are you guys at? You guys for the last few years were telling me you loved women's basketball. Where?
This was never just about a logo. It was about the perception of effort or the obvious lack of it. For a company like Nike, famous for bold campaigns and iconic athlete deals, this felt like a betrayal of its own identity. The message was loud and clear. Minimal effort for maximum return. Or possibly total indifference. It became a symbol of a larger anxiety about how the sport is being treated, especially with heightened scrutiny on every move. The frustration extended beyond Bueckers to women's basketball as a whole.
Women's basketball game. Where are you guys at? You guys for the last few years were telling me you loved women's basketball. Where are you guys all at now? You don't want to cover this great UCLA team? No, not really. I kind of got other things to do. I kind of have other things to watch. You know, there's college football playoff. You know, there's hockey. And there's that, what's that other league? Oh yeah, the NFL is taking, yeah, there's some other things.
The deepest cut was not only how bad the logo looked. It was what it suggested that Nike did not care enough to pour real creativity into Paige Bueckers' brand. This was not an isolated slip. It hinted at a lack of commitment that echoed across women's basketball. The question grew louder: if a star like Bueckers could not receive authentic creative investment, what did that mean for everyone else? It was a brutal wake-up call, and the industry was watching closely, preparing for what might follow.
Yeah, there's some other things that media would rather do. They saw Caitlin Clark, they saw the hype, they saw the attention, they jumped on board. You guys really bought into the fact that they cared about you. What did they say in Temptation? Nobody care about you, Otis! They're here for me! Yeah. Well, we didn't really care about the rest of y'all. We were here for Caitlin Clark. And now that Caitlin Clark's gone, well, so has the hype. So has the excitement. Shout out to Rudy coming out of the podcast.
This slop logo quickly turned into a harsh reflection of where women's college basketball now stands, especially after Caitlin Clark's exit. At the exact moment Bueckers was being positioned as the new face of Unrivaled, the league's major new push, this branding disaster hit. The irony was cruel. A public relations mess that highlighted a painful reality without Clark. The spotlight felt weaker and every mistake louder. The contrast between Clark's pull and this branding failure could not have been clearer.
Jazzy Davidson missing a wide open layup. Oh, what a great first impression. Hannah Doggle comes down, hits a buzzer beater in USC's face. That's game. And that's the extent of women's college basketball that I've watched. Not excited. My interest levels are back to me prior to finding out about Caitlin Clark. And it seems as if everybody's interest levels are back finding out pre-Caitlin Clark. Do they have like studio shows talking about this stuff anymore? Are there entire segments and vignettes talking about these players like there were?
The loss of Caitlin Clark from the college game sent shockwaves, creating a massive void no one seems able to fill. No Clark, no spark became the phrase echoed across media. A blunt admission from analysts and fans alike. Suddenly the electric energy around women's college basketball seemed to disappear, leaving coaches like UCLA's Corey Close openly calling out the lack of coverage. It felt like An era ended the second Clark left the college stage, and the quiet that followed was overwhelming.
Let's get to it. This logo, to me, is proof that Nike just doesn't care. This is the logo that you get when you just don't want to put in any effort. You don't want to think at all. You don't want to put in any brain power. This is what the kids would call slop. Slop. Paige Bueckers, Paige Bucket. This literally looks like a bucket. Like a sand bucket. This looks like you go to Home Depot, you go to the garbage section, they got those silver Barons bucket. It looks like one of those.
Corey Close, the head coach of UCLA women's basketball, expressed her frustration after a highly ranked matchup received almost no media attention. "Where are you guys?" she asked, calling out the same outlets that praised the sport months earlier. Her comments were an emotional demand for consistency, a reminder that the Clark-driven hype never became lasting support for the league. The media appeared to move on, chasing the next story, leaving women's basketball once again fighting for visibility. According to Close, the sudden pullback felt like a betrayal. They claimed to love the game, then vanished when the biggest star left. This was not about talent. UCLA was elite. It was about the draw of one player. The hard truth set in. Many cared only because of Caitlin Clark, not because of a true attachment to the sport. The industry was forced to reflect on its shallow engagement. This drop exposed an uncomfortable reality. Much of the recent rise in women's college basketball was tied almost entirely to Clark. Fans, media, and casual viewers admitted their interest peaked only when she played. ESPN, Fox Sports, and independent voices all jumped on the wave, enjoying record attention. Now, with Clark gone, the wave has crashed, leaving silence behind. The media followed the numbers for Clark, not for everyone else. As one voice said plainly, they were there for Caitlin. And when she left, so did the hype and excitement. The pre-Clark era of indifference seems to have returned, making teams wonder if the attention was ever real or just temporary. The truth is hitting hard. When Clark was at Iowa, every game mattered, every play sparked discussion. Studio shows, daily segments, nonstop talk, all centered on her. Now those segments are gone. The buzz has faded, replaced by an eerie quiet. A reminder of how much power one player held over the entire sport. The drop is so steep that even fans who only watched for Clark admit tuning out quickly now. One viewer switched off a major USC Notre Dame game after one missed layup. The energy was gone. This story reflects a wider feeling. Without Clark, casual interest has fallen back to old levels, leaving the sport struggling to regain momentum. Clark's absence makes Paige Bueckers' branding issues even more glaring. Being named the face of Unrivaled right after Clark's exit, paired with a sloppy logo, created a perfect storm of bad timing and weak support. The contrast feels intentional, almost like a spotlight on the massive void Clark left and the pressure placed on anyone expected to replace her. This was not just a bad logo for Bueckers. It symbolized the post-Clark challenges facing women's basketball. The league is trying to prove its popularity can last. But every mistake, every hint of low effort is magnified. The Nike bucket logo was Not only bad, it became a magnet for all fears about the sport's future. Anger over the shoe was never just about design. It was about branding, respect and responsibility. When a company like Nike appears careless, it damages both the athlete and the game. Fans expect creativity and real belief. This situation shattered trust and sparked backlash far beyond design. For Paige Bueckers, this created a disturbing storyline. Positioned as the next star, she is now linked to a controversy questioning the sincerity behind her deals. This is not about her ability but the harsh reality of marketing where image can outweigh performance. She now carries the weight of a symbol tied to corporate apathy, making her rise harder under Clark's shadow. It almost feels like proof of the no Clark no spark idea delivered through a failed brand launch. The gap in attention, care and impact is clear. A silent reminder of Clark's unmatched ability to lift the entire sport. And without her, the struggle to carry that torch is exposed for everyone to see. Deeply troubling and impossible to ignore. In the end, the Paige Bueckers Nike Slop logo controversy is not just a branding mistake. It reflects a larger fight for women's college basketball. The sport is wrestling with how to keep the momentum Clark created. This moment asks a serious question. Are the league and its partners truly ready to invest real creativity and commitment? Or will they keep stumbling, proving that without Clark the spark is gone? This situation is a harsh warning, a moment of reckoning. The hope was that Clark's rise would permanently change the game. Instead, the fragility of that support is being exposed by lazy design and fading coverage. The future now demands real innovation, not slop, if the sport wants to avoid slipping back into obscurity. The pressure has never been greater and the road ahead has never felt more uncertain.